time may be drawing to a close, Pope Francis has quietly laid out his final wishes. He's prepared to leave this world and stand before God. In a move both humble and unprecedented, he has approved a simple, stripped-down funeral for himself. A pope who has always championed simplicity, even in death, would remain true to his calling. As Pope Francis lies in a hospital bed, fighting for his life against severe pneumonia in both lungs, the world watches in anxious silence, offering prayers for his recovery. Yet, as a man of deep faith, he knows that his time on this earth may be drawing to a close. With that understanding, he made a heartfelt wish. In his words, he said, "Though I know that he has already given me many blessings, I ask the Lord for just one more. Look after me. Let it happen whenever you wish, but please don't make me suffer too much." Besides this, what other wishes has the Pope expressed that would set his funeral in the future, apart from traditional papal rites? Before we dive into this, let's first take a closer look at the great man behind the papacy, the first pope from the Americas. This is how monumental Pope Francis's papacy is. Born Jorge Mario Bergoglio on December 17, 1936, in Buenos Aires, Argentina. He was born from a humble family. His parents were Italian immigrants seeking a better life. His father, Mario, worked tirelessly as a railway accountant. Meanwhile, his mother, Regina, devoted herself to raising their 5 children. Although he first set his sights on a career as a chemical technician, destiny had greater plans. A deeper calling pulled him toward a path of faith, leading him to the diocesan seminary of Villa Devoto. In December 1969, Bergoglio was ordained as a priest, stepping fully into the path that had long called to him. Yet his journey was not without personal struggles. Though his mother was a devout Catholic, she initially resisted his decision to join the priesthood, unable to reconcile her faith with the sacrifice it demanded of her son. But as she watched him stand at the altar on his ordination day, something within her shifted. By the end of the ceremony, she not only accepted his calling, she embraced it. Just a few years later, in 1973, Bergoglio took on the role of Jesuit Provincial of Argentina, guiding others in faith and service. In 1992, he stepped into a new chapter of his journey, becoming Archbishop and taking on the immense responsibility of guiding a diocese of over 3 million souls. Then came the moment that would change not just his life, but the course of the Catholic Church. On March 13, 2013, the world waited as white smoke billowed from the Sistine Chapel. In that historic instant, Bergoglio became Pope Francis, the shepherd of over 1 billion Catholics. Under Pope Francis, the Catholic Church has embraced a powerful calling to be a church for the poor. With humility and conviction, he has led a transformation, turning faith into action. To him, the church is not just a place of worship. It is a sanctuary for the forgotten, a voice for the voiceless, and a beacon of hope for those who have none. With unwavering faith and a heart devoted to service, Pope Francis has led the Catholic Church into a new era, one of renewal, compassion, and deeper connection. But as all journeys must one day reach their final chapter, a question lingers in the minds of many. What will happen when his time on this earth comes to an end? When Pope Francis takes his final breath, a centuries-old ritual will begin, one steeped in tradition and carried out with solemn precision. The weight of responsibility will fall upon the Camerlengo, the Vatican official tasked with confirming the Pope's passing. This role now belongs to Irish-born Cardinal Kevin Farrell. In a moment both intimate and historic, the Camerlengo will enter the Pope's private chapel, standing before his still form. Following tradition, he will call out the pontiff's name 3 times, listening in silence for a response that will never come. Then, in a solemn and symbolic act, he will take the papal signet ring, the symbol of the Pope's authority, and deface or destroy it, marking the official end of his reign. With that, the doors to the papal apartments will be sealed, and the Church will turn its gaze to the future, preparing for the choosing of the new leader. The College of Cardinals, the most senior officials of the Church, is notified, and soon, the Vatican delivers the solemn news to the world. With his death, The ancient tradition of Novendiales begins, a sacred 9-day period of mourning filled with prayers, masses, and ceremonies honoring his life and legacy. As is customary, Italy is expected to declare a national period of mourning. During these days of sorrow and remembrance, Pope Francis's body will be carefully prepared for public viewing in St. Peter's Basilica. Dressed in full papal vestments, he will rest beneath the grandeur of Michelangelo's dome, as streams of mourners will arrive to pay their final respects. Throughout history, popes have lain in state on an elevated platform called a catafalque, but Pope Francis, true to his humble nature, has chosen a simpler farewell. His body will rest in an open coffin, without the grandeur of past papal funerals, reflecting the humility that defined his life. This isn't the only tradition Pope Francis will set aside. For centuries, most popes have been laid to rest in the Vatican grottos beneath St. Peter's Basilica, but Pope Francis, ever guided by his own path, has chosen differently. He has expressed his wish to be buried in Santa Maria Maggiore, a church he visited often and held close to his heart. If his request is honored, he will be the first pope in over a century to be laid to rest outside the Vatican. In yet another break from tradition, Pope Francis has requested a simple wooden coffin with a zinc lining, foregoing the customary 3-layered burial of cypress, lead, and oak. Roughly 2 to 3 weeks after the funeral, the College of Cardinals will convene in the Sistine Chapel for the sacred process of electing a new pope, an event known as a conclave. Only cardinals under the age of 80 are eligible to vote, casting their secret ballots into a chalice placed upon the altar. This exclusive assembly of cardinals is often called the world's most powerful electorate, and for good reason. Imagine this: just over 100 men bound by faith and tradition carry the immense responsibility of selecting the next spiritual leader for billions of Catholics worldwide. Unlike political elections, where candidates face intense public scrutiny, the papal selection unfolds behind closed doors, steeped in secrecy. Most cardinals enter the conclave knowing little about the potential successors. A 2/3 majority is required for a candidate to be declared the new leader of the Catholic Church. If no clear winner emerges, multiple rounds of voting take place. All eyes will turn to the Vatican as smoke billows from the chimney above the Sistine Chapel. If the smoke is black, the cardinals have not yet reached a decision. But when white smoke appears, a new chapter in church history has begun. The Catholic Church has a new leader. Yet the new pope may not come only through Pope Francis's passing. He has openly considered another path: resignation, should his health prevent him from fulfilling his sacred duties. As uncertainty looms over the Vatican, one thing is clear: whether through resignation or something more final, the legacy of Pope Francis is approaching its defining chapter. And with it, the future of the Church may be about to change forever. However, no matter what lies ahead for the Pope, we can find peace in a deeper truth. Earthly rest is not the final chapter of our story. It is merely the beginning of something far greater. The promise of resurrection is at the heart of Christian belief, as Romans chapter 8 verse 11 reminds us. If the spirit of him who raised Jesus from the dead dwells in you, he who raised Christ from the dead will also give life to your mortal bodies through his Spirit who dwells in you. One day, what was once laid to rest will rise again, blooming into the fullness of eternal life. But what are your thoughts about this? Hope you like our story. Until the next one.